Hey everyone. Welcome back to the most interactive wrestling show on the interweb. Welcome back to Wrestling with Omer. It is January 5th, 2025. Yes, I said 2025. We are old. Time is flying. And so is the world of professional wrestling. We had Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty weekend, which was an insane time to be a wrestling fan for those of you who tuned in. Wild, wild time. New Japan Pro Wrestling is back, some could say. We also have the WWE Raw debut on Netflix to talk about. That's happening tomorrow. I'm going to be with y'all live watching that, seeing what the hell happens. Are we getting The Rock? We know we're getting Cena. We know we're getting a couple of potential main event level acts on that show. We got Kyle James also in the chat. What's up, Kyle? Hopefully you're doing well. It's a wild time to be a wrestling fan. Kenny Omega is back. Thank God. We're going to talk about all of it and so much more. You guys help make the show. You guys make it what it is. So, sound off in the chat. What do you guys want to talk about? This is a fan interactive show. So, if you put it in the chat, odds are I'm going to read it. If you want to guarantee your question or statements right out, you can either leave a super chat or become a channel member, in which case I'm going to read out whatever you say and answer whatever you ask. So, wild times, people. Let me tell you. I'm tired. I'm old. I am a little hungry. But man, oh man, New Japan Pro Wrestling is not for effing children. I'll tell you that. What a weekend for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, again, you may not see this because odds are TV Asahi is going to cook me for having Kenny Omega in that thumbnail. But it is insane what they were able to pull off this weekend. Genuinely insane. It is, for the first time in a very long time, this felt like New Japan Pro Wrestling doing what New Japan Pro Wrestling does best. And everything from the production to the aura of being at the Tokyo Dome to all of the original New Japan acts that got over and that were hitting on all cylinders, combined with the action that came with Kenny Omega's return, with the coronation, essentially, of Mercedes Moné as the new women's New Japan Strong Champion. They hit it out of the park. I genuinely think, our match of the year has already happened, and it's January 5th. It's already happened. It is Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd. And I am about to heap a lot of praise on this match, but I also don't want to discredit other people. Yota Tsuji and Dave Finlay had an amazing match. I think it did more than anything I've seen Dave Finlay do over the past year, or in his entire career, to be honest, to cement him as a legitimate star in this business. And I was someone who, for a very long time, even a couple of months ago, was very critical of Dave Finlay. And I think he finally has put it all together. And he is someone to watch out for when his contract is up. And when he becomes a free agent, which will happen eventually. WWE, AEW, one of them is going to be calling. And he is going to get a bag. I hope he doesn't, though. Because I would do worry if he goes to WWE that Finley's going to kind of be relegated to NXT, when I think it might be actually best for him to probably stay in New Japan and be the guy there. Because you look at the roster that New Japan has right now, right? You have Ren Narita, you have the reigning defending IWGP champion Zack Sabre Jr., who didn't have a great match with Shota Umino, but that's a story for another day. But killed it with Ricochet the next night, and we know he has the potential. Gabe Kidd was impeccable, star-making performance for Gabe Kidd, or in my opinion, a star-cementing performance by Gabe Kidd in that match with Kenny Omega. And the future for New Japan Pro Wrestling, I genuinely believe, is never been brighter. And I think it speaks to their ability to adapt, because just a couple of years ago, New Japan Pro Wrestling was not in a position where they were going to succeed. Like, post-pandemic, right after things opened back up, business was not as good as it once was. The hype and vibe around New Japan wasn't as big as it once was. You had them losing a lot of their big stars to AEW. I mean, the exodus of the Elite is still something that, to this day, that company has not recovered from. Yet, there was so much hope this weekend for the New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that's not to say New Japan Pro Wrestling was dead, right? It wasn't dead. But it wasn't as special, and it has not really felt as special as it did this weekend. And for those of you who have kept up, who have watched New Japan over the past near decade plus, you will remember a time in 2016, or even 2015, through 2019, of New Japan just hitting on all cylinders. A large part of that was the Bullet Club. A large part of that was specifically Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody, and many others in that group. But it was also stacked with a roster of talent, the Ishis of the world, the Kazuchika Okadas of the world, the Shingo Takagi's of the world, like, just stacked roster that were believable, that were legitimate, that you knew on any single night any one of those guys was going to walk away as a world champion. They were all believable world champions. New Japan did a thing for a while where like, legit, like it felt like everyone was getting like a run with the belt, but they all deserved it. And I think we're entering like another like kind of, I'm not going to say like golden age of New Japan, because that's like very cliche and like tacky or whatever, but I think the future for New Japan Pro Wrestling is brighter than definitely it has been over the past couple of years. Shota Umino notwithstanding. I'm not going to shit too much on Shota, because God knows the internet is doing that enough. But I mean, again, just to speak briefly on it, Shota Umino versus Zack Sabre Jr. Disappointed, right? It disappointed, and Shota isn't ready. Like, that's just what it proved, but it is what it is. I'm not going to, again, belabor the point, but great weekend for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Great start to the new year for them. And I think they are set up for a lot of success coming into 2025. And we also got to talk about that Kenny Omega match, which was nuts. Wall Street Money says, the fact that Omega was out for a year, then came back to a classic match, that's my GOAT. I can't argue with that logic. Glad Omega is back. AEW has great talent, and it keeps getting better. Yeah, and like, this isn't like the watered down version of Kenny Omega that we got, or that we have in AEW. Like, and again, I say that with, people are going to get mad when I say that, but last night was a true reminder at how talented Kenny Omega was. And I'll talk about all that stuff in a sec, but I do want to get this off my chest. But like, it really sunk into me, like, how much Kenny holds back when he's in AEW. It really sunk into me that even the man that we get in AEW, that we've gotten in AEW the past couple of years, of course he's had some awesome matches, but my God, the amount that he is capable of, and I'm not even talking about like the match he had with Gabe Kidd last night. People are gonna, like, people who didn't watch the match are gonna tell you, like, oh yeah, of course he doesn't do all that every week because it's all just flips and it's none of that. It's not even work rate. We don't. I can count on like one hand, like hell, half of one hand, the amount of matches that Kenny's had, even in AEW, that have been as emotional, as psychological, as visceral as this one, or many of his classic matches in New Japan. And it speaks to that style of wrestling just being, I think, leagues above what people traditionally think is like good wrestling. And again, that's just a preference on one hand for me, but it also is like just how the cookie crumbles a bit, because you have Kenny Omega, who, like, we know, like, he's going to be able to hit every move and all that kind of stuff. But it's not just about that New Japan. It is about something more. It is about, telling that story. And him and Gabe Kidd told one of the best stories I've seen in a very long time in a match. And I will make the argument this is one of the best return matches in wrestling history. I will make the argument that this was the star-making performance that Gabe Kidd needed for his career to go to another level. And I will make this clear that Kenny Omega needed this match to remind everyone that he might just be the best fucking wrestler in the world. And I say that as a Bryan Danielson fan, so do not take that lightly. It was awesome. It was everything that you could imagine it being and then some. And if you haven't seen the match, I implore you to go see it. It is one of those things where you have to be here in the moment, like around the time that it happens, because it is just one of those things where, you're going to regret it. I had plans, I'll be honest, to go to Japan for this show. Didn't end up working out. It is what it is. I've never had so much FOMO in my life. And I'm saying that over like the first dance. I'm saying that over not going to WrestleMania a couple of years ago. I'm saying that over not going to All Out a couple of years ago in 2021. I've never had so much FOMO about missing a wrestling show than Wrestle Dynasty last night. We got a friend of the show, Billy, in the chat. Kenny looked amazing and looked fully like himself. Yeah, this is a version of Kenny Omega that I don't think we've seen since probably 2021. Because if you even look at like Kenny Omega's like recent history in AEW, how many opportunities has he really had to shine on a big level since he was champion? He was out for a couple of months after he lost the Hangman Page at Full Gear 2021. Then Brawl Out happens. He's gone for another couple of months right soon after he returns. Then, he's there, but he's kind of like mid-card Kenny. And like that's kind of where he was slotted. But man, oh man, like this right here, I had one of those moments last night, like after this match, after I was processing everything, I was just like, I understand Will Ospreay is like where you got to get to. I understand Darby Allin maybe where you got to get to. But this Kenny Omega, this guy coming back into the fold, this guy coming back into the picture, it is going to take a major, major, major program for him not to be in the world title picture and not win the world title, in my view. And Okada might be that program if they do it right. And I know that, like, it's easy to shit on Okada and his run in AEW right now. But when Okada and Omega are in the ring together, like, you can even see, like, Okada's someone, like, he's kind of done this throughout his career. And I don't think, and again, like, people who not seen New Japan before will probably, like, not know this. But, like, Okada's been known to, like, turn it on when he needs to. But sometimes it's like, okay, I'm Okada. I'm going to coast a little bit. And that's not like the worst thing in the world. That's not saying it's wrong or whatever. There are plenty of other wrestlers who do the same, like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is probably like the most over quote-unquote wrestler there is outside of like The Rock maybe. But he does the same thing. He knows that when it's time for Roman to shine, when it's that big match, when he's facing Cody at Mania, when he's facing Sammy at Elimination Chamber, I'm going to hit that next gear. But Bad Blood, Crown Jewel, I'm going to do what I got to do because I'm Roman Reigns. And it's going to be a great time regardless. So, I mean, I do think like there is that. But, oh my God. All right. So, Kenny Omega, Gabe Kidd. Let's talk about the match. As Wall Street Money says, I think New Japan should do Wrestle Dynasty as a recurring pay-per-view. I think at this point it is going to become a part of Wrestle Kingdom weekend. I think that's going to be the night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom. And there's a good, very good crowd there in the Tokyo Dome for this show. Wall Street Money also says we are probably going to get Omega versus Kid 2 at Forbidden Door in London, I would fully expect that. I would fully expect that to potentially probably be the main event of that show. And oh boy, that crowd is going to be rowdy for Gabe Kidd. But by God, guys, chat, this match was fucking spectacular. You had the story going in, right? Well, I mean, obviously Kenny's return was a big factor, but from Gabe Kidd's perspective, right, it was interesting because Gabe Kidd has kind of been like the renegade of Bullet Club. He's been like the loudmouth or whatever, and it like this story kind of took a turn because Gabe Kidd's entire thing was, no one has done more to destroy the legacy of New Japan Pro Wrestling over the last couple of years than Kenny Omega. Because Kenny left. Like, when Kenny left, the Bucks left. Like, when all these guys are leaving New Japan, Will Ospreay leaving New Japan, and it almost became like a New Japan versus AEW kind of meta thing, because, like, the whole narrative has always been in real life, like, New Japan's getting a lot of their talent poached by AEW, and Gabe Kidd, like, that was kind of the whole point of his story, like you work for the company that's taken away talent from New Japan and trying to destroy this place that helped build me, that I am help rebuilding because of what you did. And it was a very meta kind of storyline in that respect. And that was like the story of the match from, the announcers, who I think did a great job kind of cementing that point. At least the English commentary did a great job of cementing that point, to, just the smack talk in between, which I just love. That's like my favorite part of New Japan stuff, is like the smack talk is relentless and it adds so much to the match. And like that really was it. And it was Gabe Kidd, like, working over Kenny and his diverticulitis, his stomach. It was working over an injury to Kenny's ribs, I believe, midway through the match. And there was one point where Gabe Kidd hits, a package pile driver after hitting, like, I don't even know, a Styles Clash tombstone. I don't know what the perfect terminology for that one is, but that was an insane spot. And Kenny Omega, 1, 2, as Red Shoes on the count, gets his foot up on the ropes. And at that point, I was like, oh, no. Oh, Kenny's about to cook him. And he did. One-winged angel. A lot of people were expecting Gabe Kidd to kick out of the one-winged angel. It did not happen. And like, after the match, the scene is just insane. I can't show any images because TV Asahi is going to cook the shit out of me, as they've done in the past, as they're currently doing on Twitter, like copywriting and sending into oblivion everyone who talks about the show, which a separate issue with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and why a lot of content creators don't cover it anymore, especially as much as they used to, is because of the copyright strikes that people get. Even when you don't show images of New Japan, like that's like the like for those of you who are wondering, like, that is like a major reason why you don't see as many, especially a lot of even larger channels, cover New Japan as closely as they either once did or as closely as they may want to, is because of, like, the unfortunate circumstance that TV Asahi, which is like the distributing partner, like the WBD or Netflix, whatever, counterpart for New Japan Pro Wrestling, they are known very well to, like, anyone who even talks about New Japan Pro Wrestling, if you use an image, oof, cooked. Strike your channel down into oblivion, you're cooked. Channels have even been almost taken down for that reason. So that's why you don't see people covering it as closely as they'd want to. And it's hard. It's really hard to. But the fact that it's broken through and you have channels covering, like, this show, I think it speaks even more to how big this show was. Takeshita versus Ishii was an unexpected banger. Yeah, I heard this. I haven't seen all of Wrestle Dynasty. The only ones I've seen are Omega versus Kid and the Mercedes versus Mina Shirakawa match. But that doesn't surprise me. I mean, the whole thing with Tomohiro Ishii is like, he's another guy, like, he somehow has found a way to be held back in New Japan. Because, like, he could go in the ring with anyone and have, like, a 5-star match. Very, very, very easily. He's just not used to fill that purpose and hasn't been used to fill that purpose for a while. So people kind of forget how insane he is at wrestling. But when he, like, is in, like, a banger like this, it reminds you, like, Tomohiro Ishii, man, like, if the consistency in the booking was there, the sky's the limit for this guy. Like, genuinely, I'm not even blowing smoke. I think, like, if you watch a classic Tomohiro Ishii match, you know what he's capable of. And from what I hear, again, this seems to be like another classic for Tomohiro Ishii. But I mean, that match was great. The Mercedes Mina Shirakawa match was amazing. I just it's crazy. It is so crazy to think that, like, New Japan has been able to put, like, this together. It's just so wild, and it's a good thing. Like, it is a really, really good thing for pro wrestling. It is a really good thing for it's just great, man. It's just fantastic. I love the fact that New Japan is just being talked about again, and yeah, it's awesome. Nolera, it's officially Tiffy time. Well, actually, it's time for another thing, because this is a bit of breaking news we're just getting right now. Because it looks like The Rock has officially announced that he will be at WWE Netflix premiere. Let me see if I can pull this up for y'all, because this literally just broke as I was getting on the air here. But yeah, here it is. A tweet from Dwayne The Rock Johnson saying, besides having my 3 daughters, my Samoan High Chief title, High Chief, I'm going to butcher this, Sioli, is one of the greatest honors of my life. I gave my word and made a commitment 20 years ago to His Highness High Chief and to our people of Samoa. I'm so sorry, I don't want to butcher that name. That I would leave my boyish ways behind while I try and I carry my Samoan, Polynesian, and Black culture around the world with great respect, pride, kindness, mana, humility, and warrior spirit. Fa'a Samoa, the Samoan way. After 20 years of proudly carrying our culture with me around the world, I can't wait to soon return home to Samoa. I already have just chills thinking about it. Until then, I'll come back home to WWE tomorrow night as we make history on Netflix to begin an new and exciting era. Tomorrow night is dedicated to my grandfather, High Chief Peter Maivia, my grandmother, Leah Maivia, and my dad, Rocky Soul Man Johnson, and my ancestors who have all paved the way. And this is followed by a video that I probably can't play because copyright strikes. But awesome. Also, we have a chat here. Zay Kid, shout out to you, my guy, my person, my friend, my kid. The Kenny Omega slander right now is just something that, like, you can't even get away with. That's just the trolling of the highest order. That is all I could say. The Rock is about to be saying the F word 20 times. Maybe, hopefully. But it does look like he will be there. That was one of the big question marks. And now we know that The Rock will be at Netflix tomorrow. It is shaping up to be an insane night for WWE tomorrow, which is great. And I think one thing's for sure, your boy is going to be really, really fucking tired, because I'm basically I'm going off of, like, very little and no sleep. Coming off of that match last night, or that show last night, and then Wrestle Kingdom the night before. So now I'm just, like, super tired, guys. Because tomorrow I'm gonna be coming at you guys red hot, ready to go with a live stream. We're gonna be doing a bit of a watch along live stream. I promise that if I actually go live tomorrow, we will be there the entire time. But yeah, tomorrow night, live reactions to WWE Raw premiere on Netflix. It's gonna be a fun time. Come tune in, have some fun, have some laughs as we watch history being made with that, and The Rock's going to be there. We know that John Cena is going to be there. We know that it is going to be a historic night for WWE on Netflix. Tuesday will be Bayley's 15-year anniversary of being in WWE. Is that true? She's been in WWE for 15. What is 15 years? 2015 is 10 years. And has she been in WWE since 2010? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. She signed in December 2012. So it's like, I mean, it's pretty close. It's like 13 years, but man, that's crazy. Or 12 years. Whatever. Math. Yeah. How do you feel about the blue mat on SmackDown? I like it. I think the blue mat is fine. I don't want to see, we already know. My big worry was they were going to put a big old red mat on Raw, but it looks like they're going with a black mat and with a shit ton of advertising on it, which is cool, which is fine. I understand they got to do that. Get your money up, not your funny up. That's what I always say to people, and I guess WWE at least took that to heart. Mark Shapiro and company were just like, extract that value, baby. Fortnite, let's go. So that just seems like what they're doing. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think it's cool. I think it's new. It gives it a unique look. I'm not like my biggest take. My I guess my biggest hot take in wrestling is like I'm not a big fan of white ropes. So I would have much rather seen them get rid of the white ropes. And I know like wrestlers like the white ropes a lot better. But for me, black ropes have always looked a lot better on TV because to my eyes, at least, it's a lot less distracting. But I know wrestlers hate that because they're harder to see. So in the ring, it is like that's a thing. Like in AEW, I'm just like, I hate the white ropes in AEW. I wish they would choose a different color. I mean, I'd prefer red to that. But I don't know. There's something about like white ropes I just don't like in wrestling. I don't know. But the ring mat is fine. They're going to add advertising to it as long as Prime isn't on there. That's all I care about. Roll Tide. But yeah. So that's going to happen. John Cena is going to be on Raw tomorrow. Yeah, it really is going to be a major show. Taking all the bets on The Rock announcing I'll be challenging Cody at either at WrestleMania or Royal Rumble this year. It is not happening at Royal Rumble. I can 100% guarantee you that The Rock versus Cody will not be happening at the Royal Rumble. Could it happen at WrestleMania? Maybe. But right now the plan seems to be John Cena versus Cody. Royal Rumble is going to be in Saudi. CM Punk will probably going to have to win the Elimination Chamber at 2026. That's next year. I mean, Punk probably has the best chance right now to win the Royal Rumble. So I don't think he's going to have to wait that long. And even if he's not at Saudi Rumble next year, I mean, it doesn't matter because he's CM Punk. He's going to find a way to get into Mania, assuming he's healthy, right? You do got to talk about Tiffy time. Tiffany Stratton did win the WWE Women's Championship. I covered this in a video earlier on Friday. But shout out to her, man. That was a fun cash-in. All the teasing, the dissension between herself and Nia Jax has paid off. And Tiffany Stratton, new women's champion on SmackDown. That was a cool moment. I love the fact that, you know, they didn't do the whole like here I'm cashing in, and the rest like, are you sure? Oh, are you sure? Like, oh my god! But one of the most annoying spots I can ever remember was Carmella. I think she was the first ever women's Money in the Bank winner. She cashed in on Charlotte the SmackDown after Mania, and she hands her briefcase to Mike Chioda, senior official Mike Chioda, and he takes like 3 whole minutes to be, are you sure? Are you sure? Turns around, comes back, you really sure you want to cash this in? And she's like screaming, yes! Cash it in. I don't know whether like that was like Vince in his ear, but all right, let's stop it. Let's build the suspense. By like not allowing her to cash in. I don't know what that was, but that shit was crazy. By the way, guys, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Helps more people see the stream. Helps the algo. All that stuff. Is she the youngest world champion? I know Randy Orton was 24 when he won his world championship. Is she the youngest world champion? How old is Tiffany Stratton? Is she? No way she's like 24, right? Like she's like 25. Yeah, she's 25. Randy was older. Or sorry, she's older than Randy was. Because Randy still to this day is the youngest world champion in WWE history. Breaking the record of Brock Lesnar, who was, I believe, 25 when he won. And then he left the company, so they like almost immediately were like, all right, Randy Orton, hey, new record holder. And you can say what you done to me. That was a great theme, just not for that man. Just not for that man. I love that burning in your eyes. It was such a great song that did not fit Randy Orton whatsoever. But yeah, no. But I think she had. Is she the youngest? Hold up. Because now I'm thinking about it. Women's world champions count. Then she might not. Then Randy might not even be the youngest. Our youngest world champion in WWE history. So it says Randy. What about youngest women's champion WWE history? So Sasha Banks, actually, Mercedes Moné was also 24 years old, but seemingly older than Randy was. Okay. That's where it is. How would you like a new main event Mafia with WWE, Tiffany Stratton, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens? I think that could be cool, like an anti-bloodline. Oh, an anti-bloodline alliance? That could be cool. Because with Sammy, actually no, well, with Seth, Drew, Kevin Owens, that right there, you got 3 members of an anti-bloodline alliance right there. You can put in kind of in that main event Mafia slot or whatever. I like that. Burning my light. Yeah, it was a fire theme. Was it eyes or light? Nah, whatever. Burning in my eyes. All wrestling themes just kind of like muffle into like, you know, random nonsense eventually. Y'all remember like Test's theme? Test. This is a test. And it just it's just like all muffled. That and like the old SmackDown song. Shout out to OSW, because I will like never think of that song the same again. Because now whenever I hear it, all I hear is Hooventood, 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 Hooventood. Just amazing. Honestly, I think AJ Styles will leave WWE in 2025. There's a good chance that happens. I think there's a good chance that ends up happening. That's if WWE allows him to become a free agent. That's a big if. Like they're currently like in you know, saving talent mode. I think they're gonna do everything. Like AJ would have to want to leave WWE, honestly, for him to go. But I think there's a better chance of that happening than there was probably like a year ago. Roll Tide. Battle Cry theme is my favorite. Yeah, Battle Cry is a good song. I mean, my favorite is CM Punk's theme is. I think like that might be the best wrestling theme ever. Well, I did say this on like Tom Talks Rubbish. I said that like, you know, it was the best. That's probably like my favorite wrestling theme. But honestly, like the more I think about it now, I'm just like, it's Final Countdown for me. Like it's Final Countdown for me actually. But CM Punk definitely up there. We can all agree mixing Randy, Burn Light, and Edge theme as RKO. Lightning in a bottle moment. Yo, yeah. Rated RKO is one of those things where it's like, it felt like it lasted longer than it did. Because in reality, it only lasted for like, I think 2-3 months max. But in like my head, I'm like, that thing had like a year. Like they had a year as a tag team. But no, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what Randy does. Randy's another guy, man, where he's just at that level where he's a made guy. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Oh man. Guys, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But tomorrow night's going to be an insane night. Who should be the one to take the AEW belt off Moxley? I mean, I know it's probably the plan right now is Darby. Right, at least I think the plan right now is Darby. I think it's going to end up being Ospreay, and it probably should be Ospreay. That being said, if they're waiting to do Okada Omega until All In, I might just like, if I'm TK, I might just be like, all right, Kenny's the savior. Push him to the moon. World champ again. Restore the feeling. Oh, look, I mean, he's just... Last night, like, you just remind... I mean, maybe, again, a lot of that might be just, like, me, like, projecting, like, last night, being a prisoner of the moment or whatever, but I also legitimately think, like, man, this Kenny Omega we're getting is, like... He's out to prove something, and it shows that he's out to prove something. And when he's motivated like this, who's to say he shouldn't be the champion? Look with Liv or Rhea wins tomorrow night and finally end this feud, move on to something better for Liv and Rhea. I mean, pray to God it ends. Like I've been very, very patient with this. I think we all have been, or most people have been very patient with this. But gosh darn it, man, we got to move the fuck on. I love Rhea. I'm a big fan of Liv. We got to move on. This is not cooked for months. It has not been cooking. I get it. It's over in the arenas and all that kind of stuff. The Liv and Dom stuff, though, it has been profoundly underwhelming. Like the direction this story is taken with the Judgment Day has gotten to the point of it's beyond disappointing. It's annoying because it has not progressed at all. We're still in the same exact spot we were at SummerSlam when Dom turned on Rhea. Exact same spot. Nothing has fundamentally changed about in that entire situation. Nothing has changed. Damian Priest and Finn Balor are still kind of feuding. Nothing has happened. It is January, my guys. It's fucking January. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and Mania. That's what we don't want. These two should be far away from each other for at least a year. Because, wow, we don't want to talk about it, right? We don't want to talk about it because people get mad when you talk about WWE fucking up, but this was horribly booked story. I got to be honest with you. Like, I had so much excitement about the Judgment Day coming out of SummerSlam. I thought There's going to be some character advancement. There's going to be stuff happening. We added Raquel Rodriguez. That's it. Like, their feud was interesting at first, and now it's just over because Jesus, now just get it over because with cause Jesus it from I want to destroy the judgment day. It's just a love story, like, really. It's like, I mean, it's not even a good love story. Like, they've never, I don't want to. I'm not going to let the people on the internet get at me, but Jesus, man, it's just bad. It's just bad. It's bad booking. What's with Swerve, man? Making everyone hitting their villain arcs. I love this, right? I do love that Swerve Strickland apparently is the guy that, like, takes it one you know what Swerve Strickland, you know what the best part of Swerve's character is? It's that, like, I mean, obviously, like, he's really good and all that kind of stuff, but it's the fact that he is a habitual line stepper, to quote the late great Charlie Murphy. He oversteps that line just enough to break the man across from him. And when that happens, the evolution of the man across from his character is like legendary. Think about Hangman Page. Absolutely legendary stuff that he's done with that heel turn. By the way, youtube.com/WrestleVibes. I just came out with a new video essay about Hangman Page and kind of like how his character's a little lost right now. Go check that out after the show is over. youtube.com/WrestleVibes. But I love the stuff that they've done with Ricochet because it showed again Swerve's quality of, I'm going to take it just a step too far and I'm going to bring out something amazing and insane in my opponent. You could say he even did the same thing with Bryan Danielson in that match at All In. Like, one of the reasons that Bryan was so motivated and from a character perspective in that match was because Swerve was berating his children who were sitting at ringside. He was berating Birdie. He was berating Buddy. He was berating Brie, making fun of him. And that was too much for Bryan. And they kicked another gear into the American Dragon, just like it did with Hangman Page, just like it's doing right now with Ricochet. And I love that. I love that. That should be something they lean into. Like have Swerve be that habitual line stepper, to quote Charlie Murphy, and just like bring out like the evil side of people. I think it's dope. More, please. Oh man. What else, guys? I mean, my Ravens won yesterday. We could talk about that. Secured the AFC North once again. AFC North champion, Baltimore Ravens, baby. Oh man. I have so many people being like, "Oh man, are you excited for? What are you more excited for, Wrestle Dynasty or Monday Night Raw?" And I was like, I mean, after last night, I mean, it is. Kenny Omega was like the best thing. Like I'm sure that there's gonna be something on Raw that makes me go like, "Oh, this is amazing." But it is going to be hard for anything on that show tomorrow. Just like it was hard for anything on Dynamite to top what we saw last night. That was like legitimately an all-time professional wrestling moment that we met and match that we witnessed last night. You think Edge beats Mox for the title? Does Christian cash in? I think Edge fails and Christian fails. And maybe that's what brings them together. Their hatred of Jon Moxley. It's a story. But yeah, anyway, like I don't think we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna be watching tomorrow. We're gonna be live. But man, oh man, people are asking me like, "Oh, well, do you think like, what do you think is gonna be like?" I mean, the thing of this weekend is that match. Like that's the moment match, whatever of the weekend. It was Kenny Omega, crazy return. But yeah. Oh, man, I'm getting cooked in the chat, aren't I, right now? Brian, I'm in a group chat with just Brian and Kenny Baum. And after Kero and I spent like the last like 2 days freaking out about New Japan, while they said nothing, mind you, they're out here talking about The Rock's return, and I just said that is what we don't care about. uh, and now for good measure, we're gonna do Kenny. I'm gonna text Kenny greater than The Rock, and let the fire burn on some CM Punk shit. All right. I'm curious to see what happens on Raw. Is just blah tomorrow. No, I mean, it's not just blah. You got CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. You have Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. You have the return of The Rock. You have John Cena coming back. I think like they are building Monday Night Raw to be a major like milestone episode of WWE television, and it's going to be that. It's definitely going to be that. Mercedes needs to win the CMLL title. She'd have the title from every country. Yeah, I think she should win the CMLL title. I think there's a case to be made that Mercedes could win the AEW Women's World Championship. It probably won't happen, and it probably shouldn't happen, but there's a case to be made that she should if you want her to cement herself as like a world champion. I'm not gonna lie, Seth's been cooking, but I don't know what I got a lot of crap for this take, because I said that like Seth Rollins like cooked CM Punk in the storyline. He cooked him, and people were like, "Bro, what do you mean? Look at the reaction of the crowd." I'm like, bro, reaction of the crowd doesn't mean shit. WWE crowds react to anything. Yeet. That means Jey Uso's cooking his opponents? No. It's based off the content. Based off of the content of that promo, Seth Rollins had like way more barbs than CM Punk. He hit way more than CM Punk. And the delivery was just insane of what he was saying. Bro said like, oh yeah, children, you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Punky? I'm like, hey, yo. That's crazy. That's like MJF levels of low. But yeah. Someone said, it's like, which returns he's going to be better, Kenny or The Rock? Kenny. Fucking Kenny. 1,000 times Kenny. Like Kenny Omega might... Man, he might be the greatest. Like, and again, I say this as a Bryan Danielson fan. I would say Bryan Danielson is in my opinion the greatest wrestler of all time, but I would not argue with Kenny Omega being in that slot either. I'm glad MJF is focused on the world title picture. Yeah, there was definitely a bit of a shift in AEW in that they wanted to tell you this past week on Max that the world title is meaningful and that is what everyone is chasing. And I think it was a great way to build that, casino gauntlet match next week that is going to be fun. Those matches, like AEW has found their signature match, in my opinion, and it's going to be a good time. Guys, let me know in the chat, though. What do you guys want to talk about? We got about 10 or so minutes left in the show. We're going to be winding down, so let me know what you guys want to talk about. Get those chats in. CM Punk did say the only way MJF will be number one is when Tony has a daughter that he marries. All right. I mean, yeah. I mean, that was a good line. That was a good... that cooked Triple H way more than it cooked MJF, to be honest. But yeah, man. Oh, Jesus. I'm literally looking at images from that match last night. Man, that match was so good. I wish I could make a Wrestle Vibes video about that match, but I can't. I legit can't. Because the way, how quickly I would get copyright strikes is insane. Fuck fucking hate TV Acai so much for that. I just, this is like my biggest thing with like TV Acai is one of the things that has like helped hurt New Japan's popularity in the United States has been like the relentless copyright strikes. It's different if someone's showing like a video of your event. All right, you know what? I can kind of get that. Still should be fair use, but I can understand you don't want videos or whatever. Pictures, I'm like, bro, come on, man. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. But I guess it is to them, so whatever. Omega and Ospreay are the only wrestlers I can see having a great match with a houseplant. Oh, no, there's plenty. Bryan Danielson could have a great match with a houseplant. Although I will say Kenny Omega is the only person who have ever wrestled a broom that I've seen, and it actually worked. So Kenny, we know, definitely can do it. Again, he wrestled a fucking broom in a match. He also wrestled like a 9-year-old girl and somehow made that into like a classic. Although it will never beat Joey Janela's Beach Break in 2019. Great match. It was the Invisible Stan versus the Invisible Man versus the Invisible Stan. And Bryce Remsburg as a referee. It was two invisible people having a match. It was hilarious. That's peak pro wrestling right there. I love that. And it's like the most carny thing you could do. It's like, how do we like, you know, stack up this card? How do we add an extra match on this card, but like do nothing and pay no one? It's like that. It was amazing. I agree. Ospreay will be next world champion. He's been the MVP of AEW. Yeah, him and Swerve have really owned 2024. I feel bad, Ricochet and Zack Sabre Jr. How you follow up that Kenny match? Yeah, I would not have picked Ricochet and Sabre to main event. I understand why. I understand that for them, the New Japan World Championship, it means everything. But I even think like Gabe Kidd in that moment and in that match meant way more to New Japan than that world title match did that night. And like, I think had that match opened up, had Sabre versus Ricochet opened up Wrestle Dynasty and been the first match, it would have been great. And it wouldn't have had the pressure of being, you know, on right after, you know, Kenny Omega. So, but man, that Omega thing was oof. Jesus. Still getting goosebumps, guys. Last night was such a fun night. It was such a fun night. I'm happy. I'm like legitimately, I'm grinning ear to ear. And a lot of it is because like Kenny's back, and it just everything feels right. Everything feels right when Kenny Omega is back in professional wrestling. Also, New Japan bring back the. Well, I hate this. I hate this World Championship so much. The belt, I mean, the lineage of the New Japan World Title is like fucking insane. But no, like the Divas Championship, I hate that. I hate that belt so much. Like my favorite belt of all time is like that New Japan World Title. Like, you know, the one that Omega held, the one that Styles held, the one that Nakamura held, right? Okada. That's my world championship for New Japan. Not this crap. Not this like little rinky-dink trinket on a Christmas tree, as Hulk Hogan would say. Bring back the real New Japan World Championship. I don't know, man. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Cause like this is just, how you gonna do this? Like how you gonna do this, man? Where's I'm trying to find like a side by side of these two belts. 1 second. Is there I guess side by side doesn't exist. All right, well, whatever, man. I'm just gonna show y'all. TV Acai, go ahead, cook me. It is what it is. I'm gonna get cooked regardless because I'm talking about New Japan and y'all don't want that, apparently. All right. So this right here, this is the current New Japan Pro Wrestling World Championship. This is the current design. And then I'm going to pull up as well the previous version, which again, in my view, is my favorite belt in the history, I said history, of professional wrestling. Let me see if I can find a picture. Trying to find like a full picture of it. But, oh, here we go. Got it. Hook, line, and sinker. All right. So appreciate y'all bearing with me while I figured that out. But all right, look at this, man. Look at this. Like, let's not even kid ourselves about which one is better. Like, come on. This is the original New Japan belt, the one that I fell in love with. And you got this crap right here. What is this? What are you? Like, what the hell? Why? This right? I'm trying to. That's not. It's not big enough for me to wear. Like that's a real world championship in my opinion. That's the real world championship for New Japan Pro Wrestling in my view. I just. Oh God, I can't, man. Sometimes with these damn people. Look at that. We're just gonna. I'm the champion. Look at me. Hear me roar. Yeah, I agree. The belt was about best looking in all of wrestling for years, and they changed it to Divas title. Yeah, they did. So, yeah, looks like a Divas title. I feel like I predict the whole WrestleMania 41 card: Seth versus Gunther, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, Cody versus John Cena, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. I agree with most of that. I'm not sure if it's Seth versus Gunther, though. I think Gunther might be facing Goldberg. Picture of Kenny winning the New Japan belt, so iconic. Man. I'm about to just go back and watch like Kenny's entire catalog now, because like now we also got Max. Max has got all of the original Kenny stuff from 2019 in AEW. I'm just gonna go watch a bunch of Kenny Omega matches. He's the greatest. Love him almost as much as I love you guys. But I have got to go now. Appreciate every single one of you guys. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm going to link my latest Wrestle Vibes project, latest video essay about Hangman Adam Page and kind of the current problems, I should say, with the Hangman character for all of you in the chat. So you guys can ponder about that. And just go check that out. I do think it's a really good thing. Go Panthers, says Ryan Davis. Yes, go Panthers. Cook your chances of getting a top 5 pick, please. But no. Shout out to the Panthers, man. Bryce Young has proven over the last couple of weeks that he's not the bust that we thought he was. So shout out to him. Shout out to the Panthers. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to Ryan Davis. Shout out to Wall Street Money. Shout out to Brian Cutler. Shout out to every single one of you in the chat. I appreciate y'all. No Lara, WWE Cody era, everyone. Thank you so much. Until next time, everyone, be happy, be healthy, and as always, go Jaguars. Ew. Fire